All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is doing well. Hope you guys are doing great, and welcome to the Datascape. I'm your host, Prodigy, and today is a very special day as we celebrate our first guest on the Datascape podcast. Look at me messing up the intro again. He's a fastly growing Kingdom Hearts content creator and streamer with over 30k subscribers on YouTube, 20,000 followers on Twitch, and honestly, making some of the best Kingdom Hearts content on the platform at the moment. It's Ninten, everyone.
Thanks so much, man. Hello. Great to be here.
So, this is the first episode where we've ever had a guest on the podcast. This is episode 3 of the Datascape. I hope everyone, once again, is doing well, is having a great night, great morning, wherever you are, whatever time you're watching this. If you're watching it live, if you're watching it at home from the comfort of your couch, bed, and maybe you're at work, like watching this on the phone, working out, whatever you're doing. I hope you guys can relax, chill, and we can have a nice discussion. Talk about some Kingdom Hearts, talk about some content, maybe some other games too, see where the conversation leads. But the first question I'm going to start off with, we're going to get some of the basic questions out of the way. So, Ninten, tell us a little bit about your channel for those here that don't know you. Tell us about your channel, what you do, and what your come up has kind of been like in the Kingdom Hearts community.
Yeah, so I started out as a speedrunner, and I was mostly just a speedrunner of the KH series for a couple years, and then probably around 2019, 2020 is when I started taking YouTube seriously, and I started doing, I would say, like challenge videos, where it's like now I mostly just do like unique challenges and stuff for Kingdom Hearts and Randomizer and stuff like that.
Okay. I remember, fun fact actually, by the way, guys. Before I ever talked to Ninten myself, I was actually like a big fan of Ninten. Like I used to, like, I would say pre Kingdom Hearts 3 days, even a little bit after Kingdom Hearts 3 would eventually come out. I used to sit down on Twitch and I would just watch like a lot of the speedrunners in the community. I remember there was this period of time, I think in like I want to say like 2017, 18. I don't know. I don't know if I have the exact right dates, but I remember there was a big, like, I guess, push to like get like the record in Kingdom Hearts 2. It was around when 1.5 plus 2.5 came out. I started watching a lot more speedrunning for Kingdom Hearts 2 around that time. And that's when I started watching a lot more of people like Ninten, watching a lot more people like the Biscuits, KBM, etc., etc. Like it's been a fun ride, like seeing a lot of these speedrunners grow, some of them getting into content like Ninten over here, and just having like a lot of great success like on the platform. Um, I that actually leads into another question and thought I've kind of had. So I know around when I want to say KH2 Rando came out, the speedrunner community for Kingdom Hearts 2 didn't quite like. I don't want to say it died or anything, but I see a lot of people are getting back into it, especially nowadays. But there was definitely a period where a lot of runners were kind of just doing rando, and this was going on for about like a year and a half. I remember there being a little bit of like controversy in the scene surrounding that. How did you kind of feel about that? Because I know you yourself as a content creator, you were doing a lot of rando, a lot of other speedrunners were doing rando, and it was kind of like, I guess, a breath of fresh air from like what you guys had been doing for like years up to that point. So like how was that, and how do you feel like that affected your content and like growth as a creator? Because randos for Kingdom Hearts are crazy. Like we have them for Birth by Sleep or Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 2 being one of the biggest randos. Like how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so I would say it definitely plummeted the speedrunning community. Like, it just well, first of all, when it first came out, it was just a huge new thing that like we enjoyed playing, like quote unquote randomizers before it, where we would just like we had mods before that would place as bosses and stuff.
Yeah.
But then the fact that we got like a generator that could just make our own seed, made it like way more fun, and everyone was into it. And it was just like a cool new thing. And I think, yeah, just really demotivated people from doing speedruns, because rando was just a lot of fun to like. You still got the enjoyment of playing the game well and like being like doing all the stuff in the combat, and you didn't have to worry about PBing and stuff. Like it was just a really fun, casual thing to do. So for a long time, yeah, I think the speedrunning scene kind of died from it. Now there is a mod that lets you skip gummies in speedrunning. And I think that kind of brought more people back. I think it's still not, like, the speedrunning scene still hasn't fully recovered. But yeah, I think now more people are getting into it. And
Do
as
you?
far as like my content, oh sorry, you can go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, as far as my content went, I think that Rando definitely. I think it really boosted me because I think before Rando came out, speedrunning was like fine, but I was kind of stagnating as a creator because there's not much like there's only so much you can do with speedrunning on its own. And like cage speedrunning is like pretty big, but it doesn't really grow that much. But I think Rando, like that coming out, and then me thinking of like unique ideas and stuff that you can show off with Randomizer, I think really helps me create videos and stuff for YouTube.
I can imagine like randomizers is a thing that generally I don't know if this is the first game to ever do it by any means. I need to turn my phone down. I don't know if it's the first game to ever do it by any means, but doesn't it was a thing that was popularized definitely by like Pokemon, right? A little bit, or I don't know, something like that.
Um, yeah, and, I'm not sure when like the first randos came out, but there's definitely a lot of randos for like OG games, like really old games.
Yeah. I I feel like randos is definitely a great way to farm content and to I don't know get kind of just like infinite potential out of a game because there's I mean maybe not quite infinite but there's a lot like a lot of possibilities when it comes to your seed for games like Kingdom Hearts and what you could get, what ability you can get here, what weapon you can get at this point in the game, and how much it can kind of change the game and change your strats as you're doing it. So that's definitely something for really every Kingdom Hearts game that has a rando that I feel like brings a lot of just fun and freshness to the game. That I feel like just normally doing your general challenge runs doesn't always give you because at the end of the day, as fun as doing a level one playthrough is, as fun as like trying to no damage a boss is, there's another type of challenge that both casuals and hardcore fans that can enjoy from a randomizer from kind of improvising like your way through the game that I think a lot of people kind of just can have fun with, relate with, or find entertaining. So I could definitely see on the content side why that's something that is really just great that a lot of people just want to watch. Getting into a little bit more of randomizers and speedrunning a little bit, since that's the community you like come from and are like deeply rooted into. You said that you feel like speedrunning hasn't fully recovered to a degree. Like, how do you feel like other runners have kind of felt about speedrunning and like randos? Like do you feel like it's a bad thing for the community, or maybe not bad, but do you feel like it's what's the word I'm trying to look for to describe it? Do you feel like do you miss I guess what it was like before rando? Like do you miss aside from the content, do you miss like what it was kind of like before rando where everyone was challenging each other to try and take the number one spot or top three spot on like speedrun.com, or if that's the site you guys still use.
Yeah, yeah.
If like trying to get the top spots like in KH2, trying to be the best at that game from a speedrunning perspective, time perspective, whether it was level one or crit, beginner, any percent, whatever run you're trying to do. Do you feel like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you mean. So like, do I miss like the pretty much like when speedrunning was like at its peak? Because now it's kind of like fallen down a little bit. Yeah, I do. I miss it to an extent. I think like a big part of it is that like, a lot of the big creators that used to run don't run as much. I guess like the main one is BB. But there's still like a lot of other like speedrunners that were really good at the game that kind of dropped it. Um, and yeah, like I think not having more people like lose interest and go to randomizer has made it less competitive. And I do kind of miss when it was a lot more competitive before, when there were a lot more people running it. But at the same time, like overall, I think Rando helped the community a lot because if the Rando didn't come out, then runners probably would have gone burnt out on speedrunning anyway. I think it was just kind of like a nice break that we needed anyway.
You think
Speedrunning probably was gonna. I think it was gonna like have a downward trajectory anyway.
so? You think it might have been like a harder crash if Rando didn't come out like many like a lot of runners like maybe even like yourself like how I like you speed run still here and there nowadays on top of doing your rando runs. You kind of do a little bit of a mix of both on your live streams, speed running, randos, challenge runs. You do a lot of things with Kingdom Hearts. um You feel like it would have been a way harder crash, like a lot more people would have got burnt out, maybe at once even, compared to now, where there's a little bit of people who have gotten burnt out, but uh, some people still frequent back and forth a little bit between the rando and the speed running.
Yeah, I think that like just it would have been just like a slower thing where like the reason I think everyone went to rando as well, like especially like before like old runners, is because they were getting burnt out on speedrunning and like it was already getting kind of old. So I think without rando, then people probably just would have stopped playing Cage. And also like rando has got new runners into speedrunning too. Like some rando players that discovered the game from rando have started running too.
Yeah.
So I think it's been a positive overall for sure.
It's something I definitely need to get into. I don't know why. Like during this entire rando craze, I have not really invested any time into rando. I've watched a ton of it though, because I mean, basically a lot of the creators like yourself, who I was watching on Twitch, like Biz, like you, I, a lot of you guys end up going to rando, and I'll end up watching a couple of your runs, seeing some of the VODs on YouTube, some of the runs on YouTube. And I've even before it became, even before the Garden of Assemblage mod for Rando came about, like you were talking about earlier, when you guys kind of had your own custom, I guess, or some people had their own little custom randos, I guess, for KH2, that you could kind of do a little bit like the boss randos and stuff here and there, that were popular beforehand or decently popular beforehand. Uh, I don't know. It's been fun to watch you guys do it, so it's definitely been a cool thing to do. Getting into challenge runs a little bit more for Kingdom Hearts, which Randos is a part of, but you also do like challenge runs for Kingdom Hearts, many with mods. You have a lot of videos on your channel doing some of these things. You've done things on YouTube like Kingdom Hearts 2 with 1 MP, 1 HP. You've done like Kingdom Hearts 1 with like just a wooden sword. I want to know, from the perspective of people who like watch these videos, or even people who haven't watched these videos, what kind of like goes into doing these runs, making these types of videos, and what makes you think like these videos do well, they do really well on your channel. Like what makes you think these videos make like good content, or I don't know, I guess what do you think people find interesting about these sort of challenges in Kingdom Hearts?
Um, I think I think it's just the idea that you can even do it. Like, because I got the main idea. Like, my biggest inspirations, I think, for YouTube have been Smallant and Point Crow and people like that. They do similar things for, like, Nintendo games, like Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey, and Breath of the Wild, where, like, they'll beat the game with, like, without Cappy or something, or they'll do Breath of the Wild with, like, no items or something. That's where I got the inspiration. I think it does well because like just the fact like seeing I think just seeing Sora with 1 HP is like pretty crazy on its own, because it's just funny seeing like a one tiny like green pixel. And yeah, the fact that you can beat the game that way, I think for most casual players is pretty nuts. And yeah, and the KH1 with the wooden sword, I thought that'd be a really cool idea, because I think like just seeing that title, or like seeing the thumbnail of like just having a wooden sword and fighting all the bosses with the wooden sword sounds impossible. But
Yeah.
just like the fact that you can do it is really cool.
Exactly. Like everyone recognizes the wooden sword from KH1. I mean, all you have to do is get like an hour through the game, so you'll know what the wooden sword is. Yeah, you're. I have to compliment you on this aspect of your content. Is why like I find your channel and your like growth so interesting. It's not like, even though you've recently gotten a lot of success on YouTube, especially over the past 2 years on your channel, where you started this like change in direction for your content, shifting from kind of like doing a little bit of VODs here and there and speedrunning to doing a little bit more rando and challenge runs, and I guess more like dedicated videos and editing. Um, I I don't know. You're like the perfect creator for this sort of content, because you used to be a top runner for Kingdom Hearts 2. Still are like one of the top runners. I don't know what the exact leaderboard is. So if you are number one, like are you number one
No,
right now?
no,
Actually,
no,
I've not kept up with it too heavily. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who number one is right now
that's
for
fair.
speedrunning, but I know you used to be like a super top runner for KH2. Still are one of the, I would say, one of the best Kingdom Hearts players on the platform across all of the games. So not only like when people watch these videos, it's not like they're watching like just a casual or some spur of the moment streamer doing these challenges and kind of stumbling their way through it. You're watching someone who knows the game like borderline inside and out for every game they play, and you're doing like a tough challenge on top of that. So it's like it's an extra thing to see. It's like I don't know. I don't know what comparison I could like make to, or what analogy I can make to make it make more sense. But you're just a perfect creator for this sort of thing. Like when I see you do a wooden sword challenge for Kingdom Hearts 1, I want to click on the video because it's like, okay, that's a Ninten right there. He could probably do it. When I see someone do like, if I see like another streamer do like a 1 HP 1 MP challenge, yeah, it's interesting. Like that's definitely an interesting thing. But like when you do it, I'm like, he might actually beat this because that's Ninten right there. Like that's like the vibe I get when I watch like your videos, your content, because you're just that good at Kingdom Hearts. So it's a perfect blend. It's really just a perfect blend.
I actually think that that aspect of it, like I didn't really think about that very much, but yeah, like I think that's also a big reason why I went into like challenge runs and stuff, is because I already had the experience with the games, so like it's really not hard to try things like that. I think that I don't know, I wonder sometimes if it holds me back in a way, because like if other people do it and they have to struggle a lot more and spend a lot more time like on the challenge itself, I wonder if that is more interesting to the viewer if like there's more like struggle happening. But I don't know.
You think it might be interesting if it's more relatable. I think there's an argument
Yeah.
for that for sure, but I think the counter argument might even work in your favor even more because as much as like the struggle is relatable, the triumph over the challenge is what people want and what people will be amazed at, what people will be talking about. Like I think of it like this: if you're like dying 1,000 times on doing the 1 HP 1 MP challenge or just whatever challenge you're doing, if you're like dying 1,000 times, that's entertaining to a point, of course. But when I see you do a challenge like this, that for me would be just impossible, and then you do it like to almost perfection, like you're able to no damage this boss already, and like you're able to do it just like I don't know, like so smoothly. It I want to talk about it. I want to tell that to other people. It's like I'm not over here bragging about how like these other people are dying 1,000 times, but I'm bragging about like how you're able to just completely destroy the boss or destroy like the challenge like in your own way because you're just like that good at the game. Like that's like an interest there that not a lot of people can replicate. Like I guess you could say that's like the X factor a little bit.
All right. Yeah.
You coming from that speedrunning background.
That makes sense. Yeah. So I appreciate the compliments.
No problem. But let's talk about also your transition from Twitch into YouTube because you've been doing YouTube for a little bit now, and your YouTube has now grown to surpass your Twitch. I remember when you made that tweet. I it might have been a year ago, but maybe like I don't know, like half a year ago, quite a few months ago. But you made the tweet talking about how your YouTube has finally surpassed your Twitch, and that was a big thing for you because for the longest like even when I was watching when I wasn't really talking to that many creators in the community, you were one of the people I was frequenting and watching like late nights up just in my bed like falling asleep to cage. I would like watch your speed runs even if I wasn't chatting. I was like just watching on my TV, just playing them in the background. But you made that transition over to content from Twitch. You already had a pretty big Twitch following in the Kingdom Hearts community. I would say you're one of the top streamers in the Cage community, definitely. How long have you been partnered on Twitch for exactly?
That's a good question. I want to say 2018, probably.
Yeah. So like, you've been around for a minute. Like it's you haven't been around for a minute now. Like that's going on 5 years. So making that
Yeah.
transition over to YouTube, how's it been? Like what's been the ups? What have been the downs? What's been your mentality? I know we've talked a little bit about these things in the background, but just what give me the full story, the full scoop.
Yeah. So the reason that I even went to the YouTube in the first place is because I noticed that Twitch. I realized that Twitch, you can't really grow on Twitch organically very much. The best way to grow on Twitch is to grow on other platforms and then direct people to Twitch. And after I realized that, then I was like, okay, well, YouTube, like there's this also like this statistic that I keep hearing that's like there's 100 viewers. It's like 100 to 1 from YouTube to Twitch in terms of viewers. Like for every one viewer on Twitch, there's like 100 more on YouTube or something. Um, or maybe even 1,000. But yeah, so I realized that YouTube is a good place to grow, and so I just spent a lot of time editing and trying to make good videos. And like I said, I based it around people like Smonant, because I saw they were doing really well on Twitch, on YouTube. I mean, um, and yeah, I just kept going. And like I'm looking back on it, I'm really lucky that my YouTube like grew pretty fast. Like compared to most creators, I was able to grow decently well, um, which is like really surprising because I just did pretty much like stream highlights. But I think a lot of it was just like I put a lot of time into making a thumbnail and the title, just trying to like market the video well, and I think that was like a huge part of it.
Yeah. Um, like that is a big part of just the content or in general. I remember we had that like discussion a couple of months ago. We was talking about like thumbnails and titles and how important in like today's algorithm, how important presentation is for like content in a video. Like it sells the content, like just straight up. Like I mean, a certain amount of Cage fans will click on like your normal Kingdom Hearts video or discussion or news or gameplay VOD, whatever it is. But like, if you can really sell that VOD and sell that video to make people want to click on to find it interesting, um, that goes like long ways for your content, just your general growth on the platform. I think something that really helped kickstart your growth for sure was definitely the audience you already had accumulated on Twitch. Like I think a lot of people in the Kingdom Hearts community, even if like they didn't go on Twitch that much, like there's a lot of people who probably did already recognize you or at least heard of you by name that would eventually help like boost your content like when you did start doing these like crazy challenge runs and speed running because that's kind of how I was. Like I knew you had a YouTube channel, but I mean you like you were saying before, like you were mostly just doing like kind of stream highlights and like vods and stuff beforehand. So when I would see you doing like these crazy challenges and things, these crazy videos on your YouTube channel, and they start getting recommended to me a lot, I'm like, wait, that's Ninten right there. Okay, okay, he's making this like, and that I feel like that just it was crazy to see you like getting into the content scene. I definitely
Uh,
think without a doubt, as you grow, you're gonna kill it, dude. You're gonna kill it.
Thank you. One more thing I want to mention actually is that early on, I think the first one or two videos I edited, but what also really helped was that my significant other, her name's Haru. She was editing a lot of the early videos, and like even some of the recent videos have been edited by her. So I would like pay her to edit some like stream videos, and then I think that's what allowed me to focus on the thumbnail and title a lot was because she would edit it, and then I would have like all my time to just focus on how to market it. So having like us both work on it, I think also helped a lot.
That's awesome. I definitely think I've seen that with creators over time. Like, a lot of people having editors, a lot of people having like kind of teams behind their content. I remember having a discussion with a friend, actually earlier this morning, about that. Like how a lot of people are kind of forming teams behind their content a little bit, which I don't see anyone in the cage community kind of going that route to that degree. But I do think that just having editors and having someone to help your content definitely goes a long way in terms of growth because creators have to do a lot on their own. Like there's a lot that people don't realize we have to do on our own. Like I know it's kind of a meme to be an influencer now because back I've been trying to do YouTube for quite a while. Like I'm like 22, like or I must have turned 22. I feel like I've been trying to do YouTube since I was like 13. I've had an interest in it from Minecraft to Steven Universe to Kingdom Hearts now because I just end up going to that because it's my favorite thing. Like I feel like there was a period back in the day where being a creator was it was I won't say cool, but it was rare. Like it was a rare thing to talk about being a creator, being a YouTuber. That was like a rare thing to have like a job for. But now it's like everyone has an Instagram with like over 1,000. Everyone has like a TikTok with a couple thousand followers or like a blow up video on TikTok here and there. Like it's crazy. But anyways, like I I feel like in regards to being an influencer, you have to do so much on it. You have to know how to edit. You have to know how to graphic design a little bit. You have to know how to do presentation. You have to know how to market. Depending on the type of content you do, maybe you're an animator. You're probably doing most of the animating like on your like by yourself. You're like a small animator on YouTube. Um, you have to know how to be consistent, how to hustle, how to attempt to keep to a schedule, all while my like analyzing Google Analytics, among other things. So having like an editor, having like a group of people, or just anyone be able to help your content, I think this goes a long way. Um,
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
I agree. I think just having more than one person work on the channel will help a lot. Um, but it's always hard to like take that route because I think to an extent like I think the reason a lot of creators don't do it is because to an extent it's hard to because it's like something that you've worked on and you've grown on your own. It's hard to have somebody else like mess with that.
Like a pride
And then
thing.
yeah, and then also like financially if you're paying someone to do it, like we're not rich by any means.
Oh,
So
heck
just
no,
like
dude.
having the money. Yeah.
Like there's videos where I've barely made like 10-20 bucks, and I'm paying someone to like edit for more than that. you know
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like is a thing. I've gotten into getting editors a little bit, but I haven't gone the full route of having I've only had people edit videos like if I had to go away or something, because I have to like I don't know, like I go out of town a decent bit, whereas to visit family or just doing something on my own. So when I'm out and like I'm like behind like a video or two, I'll like grab like a friend and be like, hey, can you do this video for me like while I'm gone, and they'll like help me out doing that. Aside from that, I've tried to get more comfortable with people editing my videos, because you're right, like the channel definitely it's a little hard. I'm a little prideful with it. I want it to be like my baby, so I want,
Yeah.
if I grow, like I'm trying to be able to say, hey, that's all me right there. But to be honest, like that ain't true. Even if it's all you, like it's your viewers. Like your viewers help boost your content in ways you don't even realize.
Yeah.
Your friends give you like emotional support that help you do like the content like that you don't even realize. I don't. It's there's nothing wrong with taking help, and that's something I'm trying to get more used to and accustomed to as a creator myself. It's crazy, dude. Do you have any like major goals or ambitions when it comes to your content, or are you kind of just taking it video by video?
Well, I definitely did, but I think I got a little burnt out, which happens a lot with me. But I got burnt out a little bit, like at the end of last year, and I'm just now, I think, starting to get back to it. But yeah, I think my biggest goal has been to hit 100K on YouTube, and it feels like really far off. I'm not sure if that's ever gonna happen, but that's just like the one thing where I'm like, okay, if I hit this, I'll be extremely happy with where I am.
I I think it'll happen. If you keep going at the pace you are now, maybe even upping it like a tiny bit. Like I think you got it. You could definitely reach that 100K. I mean, shoot, if you think you can't reach it, I don't know. I don't know if I can reach it, to be honest.
No, I think you've been posting a lot of content. Like you're always nonstop working. I think that's
Uh,
gonna help you a lot.
I wish. I wish that was the reality of it. I wouldn't say nonstop. Like I realize that's the perception people have of me. I definitely like game on Valorant for way more hours than I should, or I practice Smash way more than I should. I'm making like nothing off of doing Smash content. And apologies if you hear my brother in the background. He's like playing with his friends or something. I don't know why he's being so loud. But regardless, I don't know. I'm trying. I want to. I I have like bigger goals than even 100K, to be honest. But that's, do I think I can actually reach them? If I said no, I feel like I'd be selling myself short. But figuring out how to reach those goals is more so the hard part. So I gotta that's what I know me and you both are trying to figure out, because we've had those discussions. Me, you, Violin a bit. Um, I'm sure you probably had these comments with many other creators. It's trying to figure out how do we take KH on YouTube to like that degree. I mean, we already have a couple KH channels at 100K. Maybe not fully KH channels. We have one fully KH channel or mostly KH channel that's at 200K in the gamers joint, but like I mean, you've had like a lot of other creators reaching that or reaching close to that, even if they have some other content here and there. Just people who post cage content consistently who have been able to like reach those goals, reach those milestones, become full time off of like doing cage content, and it's definitely a thing you can do. Um, I think the biggest thing is trying to make sure you stand out in the Kingdom Hearts community, and you're not just someone who's kind of just doing like the normal run the mill content that like a lot of people are accustomed to seeing, but doing something or having a personality, a style that like makes you helps you stand out a bit. That's the I think that's kind of the curve a little bit, but outside the content talks and whatnot, let's talk a little bit more about like your personal Kingdom Hearts thoughts and opinions. So I already know the answer to this, maybe. What's your favorite Kingdom Hearts game?
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Second favorite.
KH1.
KH1.
That
Okay.
that
Okay.
one is like hard to answer because it used to be KH3. I think now I'm gonna say KH1 though.
Okay. Fair. 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 So I'd imagine your top three is the big three though, the big number
Yeah.
titles. Yeah. Same
Yeah.
here. Mine goes backwards 3, 2, 1. So KH3, then 2, then 1. KH3 and 2 were like extremely close for me for a while. But Remind kind of gave it that extra push that I needed to like say, yeah, I think I like 3 like a lot more. Maybe not a lot, but quite a I'd say a decent bit. It's my preference for combat personally. Uh, what so you're a very gameplay oriented channel. Like a lot of your content tends to be more focused on the gameplay of Kingdom Hearts, from speedrunning to your challenge runs, to your content on YouTube. How are you with the story of Cage? Like how immersed are you into Kingdom Hearts story? Do you care about the story at all? Or is
No.
Kingdom Hearts just like a this action game to you that you're playing?
So I do care about the story, and I was way more into it before I got into like making content around it. But the I'm actually like embarrassed with how little I know about the story now. Like before KH4 comes out, I pretty much just need to like catch up on everything because I want to like be into the story by the time KH4 comes out. But right now, I pretty much don't know the ins and outs of Union Cross or like anything past that.
Mm, okay, that is a decent chunk of lore you're missing out on for sure. So if anyone, yeah, I can imagine anyone asks you a Dark Roar Union Cross question, you're probably like, but
Yeah.
you're not alone on that though. Like I think most KH fans are like that. Like Union Cross, Dark Road, while a lot of people talk about them, like it's among the hardcore fandom of Kingdom Hearts, which we're very deep into because we've just been consuming this series for so long now. It feels like everyone knows the lore for Dark Road and Union Cross, but not at all. Like there's so many people who do not care, know about these games, who blow it off just because of the art style. And like, there's so many people who haven't even finished them. There's a lot of people who started Union Cross, maybe started Dark Road. Finishing it's a whole nother story. Like, that's a statistic people don't think about sometimes. There's a lot of people who start games and just don't finish them. Like so many people. So it's interesting for sure. Um, well, there was another question that I had for you, but it just lost my brain just like poofed a little bit. Uh, Regarding content, again, I guess. So would you do you have any interest in making story content for Kingdom Hearts? Like, if when you do get into the story, do you ever see yourself going down that maybe going down that theory rabbit hole, or like doing like discussion videos about the story and whatnot? Do you see that as like a route for your content, or do you think gameplay is like the way to go for Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, that is like that I feel like is how I swear like I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure back like way back like 2016, 15 or something, that was what the majority of Cage content was on YouTube that was like big was just like 3 videos. Um and yeah, like so I've thought about like that and people still make videos like that of course now. Um but I personally I think I enjoy making um like I one thing with my content is that I want to make videos that aren't really like there's a word for it, but it's called like evergreen content, where it's like content
Yep.
that like is always relevant. And that's what I think the main problem I have with theory videos is that like they're probably not gonna be relevant after like the game comes out or whatever, after theory is debunked or like proven.
Okay. I get that. Yeah. I feel that for sure. That's that's a dilemma I think about a little bit cuz I when I'm making like modded videos for Cage, I'm like, okay, this is the evergreen content I want to like make and have be like something people could watch like any point in time. But at the same time, um Kingdom Hearts has a lot of things that people are interested in now, like a lot of theories. Like people are very interested in who the master is. People are very interested in like this Yozora Veramrex plot. And while things like that, like I can make a video on that, and it may last like a couple of years, because like I mean it'll probably take them a bit to finish up this little arc. Probably more than that. Some of us will probably have kids next time we have this discussion. By the time that arc's finished, but it's like there was a dilemma where like I know that a lot of people are really into like these theories and these topics, and I want to make them as interesting and as big as possible, but I also know that they, like you said, they don't quite have the longevity as like gameplay videos do. And what I really find interesting about your content, and this is something that you inspired me on, I don't know if you realized a bit, but I kind of started thinking to myself because I used to mostly cover KH3, and admittedly it was because I mean I'm a bit of a KH3 show. I love KH3, so like I talked about it a lot. I wanted to counteract, I guess, the hate for it with just showing my love for it with the content. Not directly. I'm not trying to be like, hey, KH3 is good. Your opinion sucks. Nothing like that. I mean,
Yeah.
who cares what KH game you like? In my opinion, that's kind of how I feel. You can like whatever KH game you want.
Yeah, I agree.
I genuinely feel like there's a valid argument for any cage going to be someone's favorite, even if you don't agree. Um, I've seen some opinions that I once upon a time would have thought were like wild, bro. Like I've had so many people while I was playing Recode be like, bro, Recode is a top 3 KH game. I'm like, what?
Oh, dude, people really think that.
I'm like, what?
A lot of people actually think
yeah,
that.
people saying that. Like, don't get me wrong. Recode got some stuff. It got yeah. Anyways, moving past that. But seriously though, like you made me realize how much value there was in I guess the old school KH content. So like KH1, KH2, like, and I knew those things were always popular, of course, but it was interesting to see people have an interest in like the gameplay of those games aside from just retrospectives or like video essays talking about them. Like people are still interested in like the combat for these games, which I would maybe argue to a degree Randall might have like revitalized a little bit, like passively, might have like passively garnered interest for some of these games, because before Rando, like yeah, you could do some mods. Like there was mods out before Rando. Rando's not like the first mod for Kingdom Hearts or anything. There's been plenty of mods for KH1, 2, and so on before Rando, but it wasn't as accessible. I'll be honest, it was a lot more annoying to do. But I don't know. It's nice to see. It's nice to see like KH1, KH2, even games like BBS. I mean, your most recent video was a Birth by Sleep video. Like seeing these older games do potentially just as well, if not better, than like some of the newer games on YouTube. It's really awesome to see. So it just furthers my ideology that I think any Kingdom Hearts game can grow on the platform, and you just have to make the right argument for it to grow. Like in terms of argument in this context, it would be video. You have to make the right video, make the right content to get that sort of thing to grow. So I think there's people out there like even a franchise that I would say are like dead and buried. I feel like there's fans out there. There's a lot of fans out there waiting for that next Sly Cooper or Jack game, but they're kind of just in hibernation. But your video got to be the one to get them out of hibernation. I guess that's like the philosophy I try to think about with content. Gotta think about ways to get these people who love KH2, who love KH1, love BBS, Dream Drop, like to their core. Get every one of those people to come out for a video and to celebrate the game a little bit.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think KH1 is like what the game that people recognize the most. I think if you were to like poll like the most casual of KH, like the widest audience. I think most of them would recognize KH1.
I completely agree. I remember me and you had like a discussion like a while back. I remember Violent pointed this out to me. He was asking me like why I he was asking me like about like my thumbnails, and like he was complimenting my thumbnails, but they're also saying how like they knows I like mostly use Sora in thumbnails, and I'm like, cause who doesn't know Sora, bro? He's in Smash.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna get able to click on a video, it's probably not gonna be through Young Xan or Zig Barber. I'm like, who is that?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Sora, he's that boy. Sora's just that dude, you know. Like I think every Sora design is like pretty recognizable. I'd say the most recognizable ones are obviously the big three. I don't know. It's hard to gauge how recognizable 3 is. Like part of me feels like 3 might be on par. They might all just be tied, because even if one's the most recognizable from like a casual perspective potentially, I feel like when you see 3, you still recognize that as Sora. Like even if it's not KH1 Sora, like I feel like that's the design they just push whenever they push Sora nowadays. Like aside from things like Smash and whatnot, but like it's usually 3 or 1. 2 is still popular. Like 2 Sora design is still crazy popular just off of game legacy alone. Like that game just that was a moment in time right there. So who's gonna forget KH2 Sora? So like.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think even like if you see 2 and 3, you know it's Sora. It's just that I think one for whatever reason, like they purposely did it where like they made like 5 games of KH1 Sora. I never understood that. It's like you play as KH1 Sora in one recoded DDD. I mean, DDD is like slightly different, but he's still like young Sora.
You play him in like every game that I think isn't like recoded or like a key game. And even if you want to count key, you could say he's in key because of metals. Technically, he's in like every game except like I think Birth by Sleep actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So they just like push that design a lot for whatever reason.
Like even at the beginning of KH3, they couldn't go without like showing you KH1 Sora. Like the first time you see the game, you have this like. I'm gonna be straight up. Kind of that model's kind of ugly of KH1 Sora. Like it's kind of weird looking model of KH1 Sora. And they still had to put in like the one at the beginning of 3 and the Station of Awakening.
Oh yeah.
Like literally the like when you run into the mirror, like just for that little scene, I think like only time you see KH1 Sora is this goofy. But we're going to go ahead and head into the viewer questions for the podcast. Some of the viewers had some questions for you. I hope I didn't ask like most of the questions the viewers had, because now I'm thinking like, did I hope I didn't take some of their questions. But if I did, we'll deal with that when it comes. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get into that. There was a plane flying over my house. I don't know if that is being caught at all.
I can't hear it.
All right, sweet. All right, so welcome everyone to the Q&A session of the podcast. So our first question comes from Bug. I'm gonna say Bug because I don't know how to say the first name. I'm very sorry. What's been the hardest speedrunning challenge for you?
Speedrunning challenge. I think it's going to be getting sub. So I was the first person to ever beat Kingdom Hearts 2 in under 3 hours, and I did it on critical mode. So I remember this is probably when I grinded like the hardest, because I was trying to get it before Liquid, and he was another KH runner, and we were both like competing to try to get it. And this is probably when I grinded the hardest, and I don't know how I did it, because we were both like so close. I could have like, if anything changed like even slightly, then he probably would have beat me to it.
Liquid Wi-Fi does hit and run now, by the way. If you guys recognize him, he's popped off with the Simpsons hit and run.
Yeah, Liquid Wi-Fi. He's a really big runner now of Simpsons. But yeah, he ran KH2, and we were both competing to get sub 3 hours, and that was just really painful. Just like because critical mode speedruns are really hard, because if you make like a really tiny mistake, even if your run is like perfect, if you make a really tiny mistake, you can just die because the game's hard and you're on critical mode. And if you die, then the run's dead, and that's it.
Okay.
So I'd probably say that, yeah.
So your first time getting sub 3 on crit for KH2, say, is the hardest run for you. All right.
Yep.
I remember those days when everyone was trying to get sub 3. Was that my memory is a little foggy. Was that for 1.5 plus 2.5, or was that for KH2 FM on? Oh, that was FM, right? On PS2.
It was on PS4. It was on PS4.
Oh, it was on PS4. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I know KH2 FM runs on PS2 when people used to like import the copies and stuff and do runs of those. Like that's when I first started watching speedruns on just Twitch and YouTube and stuff. That was when 2.5 sucked for speedrunning, because that game's load times were terrible on the PS3, and we were just like, we're just gonna stick to the PS2 KH2. Remember, those runs were like 4 hours. Did y'all ever get? I forget. Did people ever get sub 4 for that one, or like sub 350?
FM on PS2 record was like 3.5 hours, just about.
3.5 hours. Okay, yeah. So that's crazy. I know everyone was like excited to be able to get KH2 to below 3 hours, like for PS4. That was insane. Everyone got new PBs because of PS4 when it first came out. Like, yo, let's go. It runs so fast. All right. So going on to the next question. So the next question comes from Pedal Pencil. Besides reaction commands, what's only one feature from a previous Kingdom Hearts game that you would like to return in KH4?
Oh, this is a hard one. I think I want to say the tech points from KH1.
Tech points.
I think that's that was a really cool feature that I think is kind of weird that they removed.
That was weird they removed that. I guess the reason they removed that, I imagine that had been like a late game decision or something, because they probably realized, wait, you get XP and you get leveled up so fast. There's so many enemies on screen. Maybe we'll just remove the tech points. Imagine tech points on top of like how many enemies you're killing at once.
Yeah, well, no, it would. I think it'd be cool to, because like the combat, like there's so many. I think if you got rewarded with EXP for doing cool things in the combat, like I think that would be really cool. So like every time you get like a fast crit on like Dead Organ KH3, or like you get a flash step, you know, that like you just parry a boss or something. I think that'd just pretty cool if you got EXP for it.
That would be like a super cool incentive system for players. I think that'll be awesome. All right, on to the third question. Running through these. So we have a question from Haiti Anazi. I hope I pronounced your name right. Thank you for asking this question. Do you still love Kingdom Hearts at the same level you did when you first experienced it?
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. It's hard to say because when I first played it, I was like maybe 7 or something. So like, I don't know, like I loved it as however much you could love it as like a 7-year-old, which is maybe more than I love it now, but like I still really enjoy the game. I haven't, my love for it hasn't declined, so I think yeah.
Okay. Obviously the answer is yes for me, and in case you did want me to answer the last question to whoever commented, my answer to the last question from Pedal Pencil would probably be I want to say cooking. Maybe I like cooking a lot in 3. Like I thought it was fun. This is a fun little casual thing.
I can't do the egg minigame.
Egg minigame is, you gotta look at the sparkles, bro. Like the sparkles help you. The sparkles in the background help. That's why I say to everyone. All right, now for the last question. Azel Zavira, I feel like they had a question beforehand, but thank you for asking a question again. What are your thoughts on where the story goes from here? We kind of asked Ninten about the story a little bit earlier, but you know, even if you don't know anything about Union Cross, like super crazy, what are your thoughts like on the story? Like what when you saw KH4's reveal, when you see the Yozora stuff, when you play Remind, what's your excitement? What's your hype for the story? Like if you have any, like, what's your interest?
I am really excited for what they do with Yozora and where they take KH from here, because I think like, well, see, this is what like, I hope that they can kind of have like a new, I guess it's hard to answer this question without knowing Union Cross stuff, but like pretty much I was hoping that like Xehanort stuff was mostly gone and they just kind of have new things coming up, because like the Xehanort arc was cool and all, but I think it'd be cool to just have like a new beginning. And yeah, and like Zora's a really cool boss and like really cool character. and just having it be more, I guess, like maybe a little bit less Disney focused. Like not like I know everyone's freaking out about like them leaving Disney. Disney will always be part of it, but I just mean like having it maybe be more serious and like having more characters that are original, not just like Disney characters.
Yeah, I get you on that. That's so funny you asked that because my last video was literally about that topic.
Yeah.
Removing Disney. Man, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I will not be offended if like we have less Disney in a Cage game. If there was no Disney, I might be quite annoyed, personally, mostly because I've been like hyped about the prospect of a Moana and Kanto world for like a while now, especially Moana. That's probably my most wanted world in Cage still. But
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm definitely trying to see more Yozora. Like I want to see more of Quadratum. I really want to see like that world and immerse myself in that environment. Disney or no Disney, whatever references they put in or not. Like I'm confident the story's gonna move to the beat it has to. So the last question is a question from me, and this is the question I want to use to end off the podcast here. Which thank you very much for joining us, Ninten. But you know, with content, with speedrunning, all of it, it's been quite a journey for us as like Cage fans. But I gotta ask, bro. Cage. Like I genuinely believe that. But again, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. That will wrap up episode 3 of the Datascape, ladies and gentlemen. Next episode, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about the next episode, but we'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know sometime later in the week. Thank you guys again for coming out. My name is Prodigy, and if you want to become a part of the union, you already know what to do. Hit that red subscribe button down below. Ninten's links are all in the description, and I will talk to you guys soon.